Welcome to episode 6 of the Some Brothers podcast, where us brothers talk about books, movies, music, and more. I'm Dillon here with my brother Ryan, and before we get into it, Ryan, do you have any interesting stories to tell from life? Did anyone barf on anyone else's shoes?
No. I think I don't have a lot about this to talk about on this podcast, but it's an interesting story for my life that I just got married.
Yeah.
As of the recording of this podcast. So that was something. That was fun. And yeah, like I said, I don't really have a lot that pertains to this podcast about it. The DJ did a great job, though, I would say.
I agree. Yeah, that's a music related thing.
Yeah, it's pretty much some of the best overall DJ mix that I've experienced at a wedding for the dance part. I'm not usually much of a dancer, but because we, chose the basis of the playlist for the dance part, it kind of made it. He did a good job of melding that together and filling in the blanks along the same vibe lines. So there were a lot of times where even when we migrated off the dance floor and we're going to talk to people, it was like, oh, I found myself going like, oh, this is one I put on there. We got to get back on there, on the dance floor and dance to this. So shout out to DJ Ducky.
DJ Ducky. Cool. I didn't know his name, but I have to agree with you on that because, I always like dancing at weddings. I'm usually out there on the dance floor, but at most weddings, there are some songs where I'm like, okay, this is one where I can go off, take a break because I'm not into this song. Yeah. But I didn't really find any during yours. It just kept going.
You were pretty much out there the whole time.
Yeah, I took like one break, and other than that, I was like, oh, this is a great song too. Just keep it going. And that's always a good thing. Keeps the party going.
So that's all I had to say about that. I do have other news and more important news relevant to this podcast and our show and everything else is that Laura Zigman commented on our video and subscribe. I think she said she subscribed. I didn't look at our YouTube subscribers and verify, but I trust her.
Yeah, I saw the notification actually.
Okay.
It did say. Yeah, that was pretty wild thing to happen to us. Definitely new. The first time the author of a book that we read.
Animal Husbandry, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah. So our episode on her novel from the 90s, Animal Husbandry, and the movie Someone Like You. I posted about it on Instagram like I normally do, and she commented saying, that she actually checked out the episode. She said it was fun for her to revisit, because it's been, 30 years now or something since that came out? Yeah, that was pretty mind-blowing. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was really cool to get a really positive comment, too. Not just, we have this little show and YouTube channel that we have 300 subscribers, and our view counts are low. The views on that episode, I think, are below 40. So we don't get a lot of views. Our big viewed episodes from, when we started a couple of years ago have maybe 2,000.
Yeah.
I
think
Sphere hit 2,000 maybe yet.
It's close.
It was close. It was close. It might not even be at 2,000 yet, but we're not getting a lot of views on these things. So it was just cool that she saw probably your Instagram tag or something, right?
Yeah.
You probably...
I do that sometimes, tagging the author, and it doesn't cross my mind that the author's gonna go watch our video.
Yeah.
It's more people that see it, people that we know in real life would see my post and maybe go check out the author. I feel I'm advertising, go check out their work.
Yeah, exactly. I think I imagine that, those kinds of people, authors and stuff, they get a lot of just notifications from their public profile, and they don't interact with all of them because they don't have time, or they don't even run their social media or something.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that. It was surprising and cool to see. Yeah.
Yeah, big shout out to Laura Zigman. We both enjoyed her book. yeah, that movie also has a special place in my heart, as I mentioned on that episode. So yeah, that was just really cool thing to happen. And like you said, it's like, unexpected with the amount of views we get, because it often feels like we're basically just doing a book club between ourselves as a way for us to like keep in touch and have a discussion project going on. But then we put it out there, and sometimes it's like, okay, if a local book club is putting their meetings on YouTube, it's probably not going to get a lot of attention or like the author's attention. So it's just cool when stuff like that happens. And speaking of reading, have you been reading anything else lately that you want to talk about on here?
So what I wanted to talk about, and maybe I'll throw it to you to talk about this maybe more, you might be more interested in talking about this, because I finished White Teeth. I brought that up when I started reading it in a previous podcast, and this is the first podcast I think we might have had that I've finished reading it, or at least had the time to put this in here to talk about it. And I guess before we both talk about it, my general impression was that it was good, but I didn't feel like it was super great to me. I feel like it was a little bit long.
Definitely a long book, yeah.
Yeah, it reminded me of Cannery Row, like in the way that it presented its unique characters that each had their own like lives and idiosyncrasies, and clearly were thought out and detailed in that way. They are definitely like unique, I like that, and that's what I like about Cannery Row. But Cannery Row is a much shorter book. And there's a sequel to Cannery Row, which I never knew. Did you ever read Cannery Row? Or
I haven't read that one. Much? John Steinbeck, right?
Steinbeck, yeah. It's an easy short one. It's probably less than 200 pages, maybe even. And the same with the sequel to that, which is, I always forget it. It's something, I always want to call it Ruby Tuesday, Sweet Thursday, I think is what it's called.
I remember you mentioning that before. It sounds familiar.
Yeah. So, and that one's good too. I like that one. Actually, I think I actually like that one slightly better, and it because of the fact that it's like you're revisiting all these characters you knew, so you're already familiar, and it's almost a little nostalgic in a way. So that worked out really well because that's two different books. So like if this was split into two books that I read at different times, I think I would like it a lot more. In that way, Cannery Row isn't as totally in depth as White Teeth. I mean, White Teeth presents such detailed information across multiple generations, of each like character, and that's in a way is academically interesting. In a way, the book is academically interesting in what it is all presenting, but I still kind of felt it was a little bit of a slog to get through as far as like my general interest. And sometimes those things work with each other. It worked that way with 2666. The one
Roberto Bolaño.
Roberto Bolaño, which is very long, and it is also a slog because there's so much of like what is happening, in this book. But it still, I like that one better because of the what is happening of it all. I really like those puzzle mystery books that's kind of like it's totally not telling you what is going on, and you're piecing so much more of it together, and that keeps me a little bit more engaged through the whole thing. And so that's kind of a little bit of what it might lack to kind of help it out in that way. But I mean, I know that you really liked this. This was your has been your recommendation for years to me and others, to read this book. So, is there anything you want to say about it?
I was waiting a little bit to hear what your response would be when you said you were reading it, because I read it like 5 years ago, probably at this point, and I just loved it from page one. It's one of my favorite books, like top 15 category for me of all time. But I know that it's a hard sell because it's not like a casual read, not really what you think of as a page turner, not a short one, of course. But I don't know, something about it where it's like, yeah, you'd really have to love all the characters and just the writing style at a sentence level to like really enjoy it the whole time because it's so long and detailed. And yeah, it's hard for me to explain what I liked so much about it, but it just like something about the writing style. Once I started it, I was like, oh, this is so, I don't know, refreshing. And like, I don't know,
Yeah.
I was entertained on every page.
Yeah.
And what was I going to say? I feel like the time that I read it, I went through a phase where I was reading some David Foster Wallace, who's even more like dense and difficult a lot of
Yeah.
the time. So like, I was struggling with some of his fiction, but I liked his nonfiction. Like I liked his essays. So I liked his style, but it was a little too difficult. So then once I started reading White Teeth, I was like, oh, it has kind of the same stuff I like about David Foster Wallace, but it seemed more entertaining. So with that comparison in mind, I was like, oh, this is awesome. And yeah, it just sent me off on a journey where I read all of her other novels.
Right.
And this is a good time for advertising because, of course, we did an Adaptation Station episode on NW, which is my second favorite of her novels.
Okay. Yeah. I'd have to look back at what I actually gave the what I rated each of these in comparison to each other because I don't remember off the top of my head. But thinking back, it's possible. I think they're very close to each other.
Yeah.
In my ratings, it's possible that I liked NW better. When I think about it now, NW is interesting in the way that it's written. It's written in a much more experimental style.
Yeah.
Definitely. Which was interesting to read, but also kind of like that one's very much like fragmentary and like what is going on, like each like sections from different person's perspective and told in a different way and through different periods of time.
Yeah, that's true. I could see you liking that one more because White Teeth is kind of very traditional in a way, in a literary sense, where it's like here's the different generations of a family being told like in different sections. But yeah, NW kind of jumps around and experimental, like you said, which I find very interesting. But I don't remember your score either, but I remember it being, lower than mine. So I was a little worried going into you reading White Teeth.
I did watch that one first too,
True.
I think, usually we find that a little bit hurts the second thing, at least for me. I'm affected. So I think I would have liked that better if I had read it first also.
Yeah.
So that's probably what I'm kind of remembering, right now. Right now a little bit, divorced from when I had watched NW and then read it. I remember the movie. Well, it was like a 2-part miniseries or something.
Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah.
But anyway, the movie, I liked it less, I think, than the book. So I remember the book more, and now when I think back about it, I can think about it a little bit more by itself, which makes me think that I probably like it. I would be more inclined to reread that one than White Teeth, I think, mostly because of the length.
Yeah. And NW is not really short either, but it does seem like it's faster.
Yeah.
And not written as dense either. So it might look like a big book, but it's not as long, really.
Right.
Yeah, and like you're saying, that does happen to me, especially with the order of watching first and then reading. That usually feels like that plays more of effect on me not liking the book as much as if I read first and then watch second. I can usually enjoy both, but usually watching and then reading makes the book like really slow, and it's like, okay.
Yeah. I agree, except of course, I have at least one of my it was our first episode of Adaptation Station was the opposite for me, where I read it The Last Duel first and then watched it, and I was watching it going like, why won't it ever end? It's so slow because it does the retelling multiple times,
Yeah, it really depends on if they're the same or not. I was thinking where it's a straightforward adaptation, but if they really change it up like that, then there's a lot of curveballs out there, throughout all our episodes. Cool. Well, that was good to hear your reaction. It definitely could have been worse, you know. I wasn't.
Yeah, and like I said, it was good. I'm just saying, like, I know because of the fact that you liked it so much. I'm just saying I didn't quite like it that much, but it was still good. You know, I think it's maybe in the 8 range. Like, I think that's about what I rated it, about an 8 or something.
Yeah, that's good. I feel like you rated NW lower, but maybe that was
I think so
the
too.
movie
I
score.
feel like I rated it a 7 point something, but I don't remember now. You know.
Yeah, I don't keep track of them in my brain, but those are both good scores. So
yeah, it's good books, both of them.
Cool.
So what about you? What you got some reading that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I recently read a recommendation, not one of yours. I have some of yours on my TBR, like 2666. I need to get to that one. But my friend Will recommended a book called Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister. Yeah, it must be Gillian. I was just thinking it's a G. Is it Gillian or Gillian? But Gillian sounds too close to Gilligan. Like Gilligan's Island.
Yeah, I don't know. I would imagine it probably could be either one, but
I guess so.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a novel, and it's a thriller, a bit of a thriller, and with a time travel element that was done in a very unique way, I would say. I really enjoyed it because what happens is in the first scene, the main character is a woman named Jen who has a husband and a son, and her son's coming home from some event or something, and she witnesses her son commit a murder. So like in their front lawn, somebody's coming up to him, and then like he defends, like kills that guy, and he's getting arrested, and she's like, what's going on? So that kind of sets up the mystery. But then that night she goes to sleep and she wakes up the previous day. They call it day -1 in the novel.
Okay,
So each chapter she's waking up a day earlier in her life.
Oh.
Yeah, it keeps happening. She's like in this time loop where she's going backwards in time. And so yeah, she wakes up, her son's there, like the murder hasn't happened yet. So basically she has to figure out why the murder happens before it happens.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also the added mystery of the time loop where it's like...
Yeah, she's also going further and further back in time?
Yeah.
Or does she keep... she's not replaying the one previous day over and over again. She's going back further and further.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's going back. It'll be like day -1, day -2. So there's times when it's like she finds a clue and she's like, okay, maybe I did something different this time. That'll stop it. I should wake up in present day now, maybe.
Oh yeah,
but
that's
then,
what I was wondering. Is it's kind of like she keeps going backward until she finds a thing that does stop it or something.
Yeah, that's part of the mystery because she doesn't know. But that's the unique thing about it is like there's the crime mystery aspect, which is kind of interesting enough on its own. But then you add the time loop mystery where she's like, do I just keep going backwards until before I'm born, or is it like, do I need to do something specific and that'll stop the time loop?
It is a different take on Groundhog Day, but very similar to Groundhog Day, right? Because he gets stuck in that same day loop, and he's at like some of that time is like, do I have to do something different? Or eventually, at least, he's like, do I have to do something different to get out of this time loop? You know? But he's not trying to solve a crime, or whatever.
That's
before
true.
It happens. He's also not going back further in time, So there's some added stuff on there.
Yeah, that's a good comparison for a comedy. What it reminded me of is this early 2000s Sandra Bullock movie, Premonition. Did you ever watch that one?
I did. I don't really remember it. I mean, I probably watched it in the background, back when it came out, basically.
Yeah, probably
so
20 years ago. Yeah, I don't remember a lot of the specifics, but it seemed similar where like, I mean, I think it's more like she had a vision of the future where like her husband dies or kills someone, something like that. But it was similar in the sense that like she has some clues and she's trying to figure it out. She has the calendar and everything. So, I don't know. I like that kind of stuff. It just made me think of all the different time related, time travel related things, like the movie Lake House, also with Sandra Bullock, 11/22/63 by Stephen King, Minority Report. That's another really good kind of time travel related.
Yeah, that one's not really time travel. It's more like it's like premonition or whatever, where it's like a prediction of a future.
Yeah.
And then he's like trying to not have that happen in the future or whatever. Right?
Yeah, because that one is like they're police, but they stop a crime before it happens.
Yeah, they have these things where it predicts that a crime's going to happen, and they like arrest somebody for that crime before it happens, and he is the one who's accused of doing this, and so he's like, oh, I'm not going to do that. I gotta figure this out, you know.
Yeah, that one. I like that one. It kind of turns more into a thing of like corruption.
Yeah. That's a good movie. It is.
Yeah,
it is a
and
thing.
that's pretty much my recommendation for this one is Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister. The only warning I have is that it's a British novel, so you might want to brush up on your British English to be ready for it. Yeah,
there's some slang stuff.
There were just little things that every once in a while reminded me, oh yeah, this is in England. Just little stuff like they dial 999 instead of 911. That type of thing.
When I get out of the loo, we'll load this stuff in the boot. You know, we'll go down the lift and load this stuff in the boot.
Stuff like that. Yeah, they pull out their mobile instead of their cell phone. Those things just are funny to me, kind of, when I'm reading a British novel, because like when you're watching a movie, you hear their accent the whole time.
But you're not reading it with the narrator voice in your head in British.
Exactly. I'm reading it in my accent until they say like, oh, I need to go up to my apartment, so I'm going to take the lift. Yeah. It's like
up to my flat.
Up to my flat. Yeah. So the accent will pop into my head every time they say like British slang. What about watching? We were just talking about movies a little bit. Do you have any TV or movies to recommend?
I just thought I should bring this up because it's been when we're talking about this now and when this episode's going to come out, it's going to be way behind the pop culture swing on this thing. But I was just thought to mention it because it's mentioned somewhere else. So many other places on podcasts and stuff is K-pop Demon Hunter. We watched that. And I mean, I thought it was fine. It didn't really like grab me the way that like Disney Pixar stuff is still able to, even though that's geared towards kids. And like this was geared towards kids also. But like I was a little surprised at that in a way because I didn't really know what to expect about that, because the way that I had heard people talking about it, it didn't necessarily seem like it was. They were just talking about it like it was any old kind of movie. It just wasn't being mentioned. So it kind of did surprise me. And I think maybe it only surprised me because I wasn't familiar with like who made it, right? Like, so I feel like when a Disney Pixar movie comes out, you know it's made by those companies, so you know it's going to be geared towards kids. So you'll hear adults talk about it and say that it was good. But they also, for those, won't mention it was good, even though it's a kids movie. But they don't. You don't say that because everybody already knows, you know. So in that way, it's probably the same. Where it's like if you've already watched it, you're aware of that, so you're just gonna say it was a good movie, you know. Anyway, it didn't quite grab me the same way as those, so I just thought it was kind of okay. But my wife really liked it and liked the songs from it, and we had one of the songs played during our wedding, Golden. And the DJ there knew what it was, and I think he filmed everybody dancing to it as a part of it, and he was like, he thanked everybody. He was like, that's gonna make my son's day or whatever.
Yeah, that one was really popular. I had heard a lot of people talk about that one, and I had a similar experience with that movie because I also watched it. But also similarly, my wife liked that movie so much that she had watched it on her own, thinking like that's not one Dylan's gonna care that much if I watch without him. But she recommended it, so when it was her turn for a movie night, we watched it together. So she was rewatching it. And yeah, same thing here is like I didn't love it the way that sometimes even Disney, Pixar kids movies, I'm like, wow, that's just a great movie all around.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are, type of thing. But
Yeah.
but I didn't hate it either. Like,
Yeah.
I have to admit when the songs are on and they made me, bob my head, tap my foot a little bit. I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, these are catchy. I get it. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it just made me think that if I was the right age when this came out, I would probably like it a lot more. Or if I was a K-pop fan, I think K-pop is just a big deal right now. So.
Yeah. It was, if you were a K-pop or even an anime fan, like this is a 3D animation, but they do have a lot of the anime type stuff, which is kind of interesting to see in 3D. Some of the things they do with facial expressions and all that kind of stuff. You're used to seeing it kind of in 3D, the exaggerated expressions and stuff. But in 3D, it was kind of a little fun to see that. It was like interesting to see because I feel like I don't usually see that. I don't watch anime or that kind of stuff. So there's probably something else out there that has done it like that first. But
good
this
point.
was my first time kind of seeing that.
Yeah, I didn't think about that much because I also haven't watched a lot of anime, which, this is maybe more for anime fans. But yeah, I think we both mentioned off camera after we watched this that we like the big blue cat creature.
Yeah.
Whatever that was.
The weird cat creature and the little crow with a hat or whatever.
Yeah, little bird, whatever that bird was.
Yeah.
Those were some interesting creatures or the mythology they bring into it.
Yeah.
And since you mentioned anime, this isn't something I was planning on bringing up, but when my wife and I were recently on our 1-year wedding anniversary, we went and stayed in an Airbnb cabin type of place, and they had like a TV with cable and stuff on where we just were browsing through the channels, and the thing we ended up having on in the background most of the time was they had Naruto on the TV. Mm-hmm. And we were like, well, let's check that out. I mean, maybe we'll like anime stuff. I mean, I like, I'm a big fan of like martial arts movies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, you know what? This could be cool. So we didn't watch that much of it because we were mostly like out doing other stuff. But when we were there and it was on, I was like, if I took the time to really watch a show like this in order, I could see myself getting into it.
Yeah. And like, I feel like it could have happened too. It just didn't. Like, I remembered enjoying watching, and I don't know how much these things count with people who are fans of anime, or if they're more like just they are kids shows, right? Pokemon Yu-Gi-Oh! Even, and I remember hearing. I mean, I didn't do my own research on this, but hearing that. With Yu-Gi-Oh! It was actually a much darker show in Japan, the original anime, in that the Shadow Realm was retooled to be a kid's, appeal more to a kid's audience in the U.S. by being called the Shadow Realm. But originally in Japan, that's what they died.
Oh.
That was death. Like they had died and not just banished to the Shadow Realm or whatever. Yeah. Like they were killed, and that was, I guess... limbo or hell or something in a way. So it was a little bit darker in that way. So it could have been a little bit more of a older audience maybe that was geared toward, but I always think of those as like kid shows. But I do remember enjoying Yu-Gi-Oh! A little bit more in a way because I feel like it was a little bit older of an audience than Pokemon, that's for sure,
Yeah, that's a good point. I think that's the reason why I haven't watched much anime as an adult is because, like you're saying, we both grew up watching Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! So in my mind now, I'm like, oh yeah, those are for kids. That's cool.
It's just associated with like other, animated cartoons, that you used to watch as a kid, and
But I remember having that same experience you're talking about where we watched Pokemon and it's like, oh, they're kind of cute. It's like a kid's thing. So Yu-Gi-Oh! By comparison was like, oh, they're kind of like gritty, badass.
Yeah,
dark.
You have these dragons and stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I wanted to bring up about watching is that in our last episode, I talked about True Detective,
I was going to bring this up even if you didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, based on your recommendation, I finally got around to watching True Detective and basically ended up binging all the seasons. So now I'm caught up. I finished season 4 of True Detective, the one with what is her name? I'm blanking right now. Jodie Foster. Yeah. Which I was excited for because my wife and I are both fans of Jodie Foster in general, and she was very good in it. But I will say, it was probably my least favorite of the seasons. You had warned me that it was like not the original creative team, so it's kind of like a spin-off. And I definitely got that vibe because they strangely put in some like horror elements. I felt like kind of Japanese horror inspired, like The Ring or The Grudge. Sometimes.
Yeah, and it was like a kind of like supernatural overall based, even if you wouldn't there was definitely horror based, but horror not as much based in reality throughout. That's what it seemed like, the supernatural mystery through a lot of it.
Yeah, because there can be reality based horror where it's like it's about crime, so it's about murders, and of course season 1 was kind of about like cults that believe in supernatural stuff. Yeah. But this one was like there's supernatural visions and like things happening that are not natural. So it was a little bit strange in those ways at times, but still, I don't know, a worthy enough spin-off to like, I'd say if you liked the other ones, I would recommend checking it out with an open mind. I did like how they kind of, allude to the case from the first season. And then I'm a little bit on the fence whether I liked it or not when the one guy brings back the time is a flat circle line. It was a little goofy, but I'm like, that's cool. They got that theme still.
Yeah, my wife still enjoyed it. But I think this is a theme that comes up a lot in Adaptation Station, where it's hard for me to drop like a pre-existing
like an expectation
or expectation that I have from something that I have already experienced, a book or a movie or show or something. It's hard for me to drop that going into something else. So I think that's why I ended up basically not liking this. I only half watched the second half of it or whatever.
That's fair. I feel like it had its moments. A small thing I wanted to mention that I just remembered is like before I had watched that season, we did one of our recasts was casting who should play Tony Hawk if they made a Tony Hawk movie. And then I watched True Detective season 4 and I thought, that kid, he plays like the other detective's son. I don't remember.
I don't even remember because I watched it when it came out, so it's been a while.
I should look it up because I didn't even put it in my notes to mention. I just remembered it. Because I don't remember the actor's name. Got to look up the cast, but I just thought, that guy could be young Tony Hawk. His name is Finn Bennett, 26 years old.
Yeah, I could definitely see it. Yeah, I know. I remember this guy from there now.
Yeah, he was just a little angsty in it too, where I'm like, I could see him as like a young skater guy, close enough looking to Tony Hawk, where I'm like, I wish I watched that a little bit earlier so I could have recasted him instead of whoever I even chose.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember who you chose either. Looks like he's tall too, so Tony Hawk's tall. That was a problem that I had. I think I ended up casting somebody who was short because I just couldn't find anybody. And by short, I mean, I don't know, probably our height. I think the guy I chose was a little shorter than we are. I think we're the average height in the U.S. or whatever, 5'10". I think the average height is like 5'9", maybe, but
okay. Before we move on to music, I did want to give one recommendation because my theme this time turned out to be time is a flat circle. Because Wrong Place, Wrong Time was a book about like time travel. True Detective is kind of like time related. I wanted to recommend, there's a Spanish director named Oriol Paulo, and I watched a movie of his and a TV show that he has. I think both are on Netflix, and they both kind of have to do with time travel related things. The movie in English is called Mirage, or Durante la Tormenta in Spanish, during the storm. And that one was really interesting. To me, it was kind of like a mix between, it reminded me of The Ring, but also like, what else can I compare it to? I don't know, something like time travel related, where what happens in it is a woman moves into a home and then she finds an old TV and she turns it to a channel where she sees a kid hanging out in that room that she's in. And the kid sees her also. Like, they see each other through the TV, and she's like, what the hell's going on? And it turns into this time travel thing where she's looking back into the past of someone that used to live in that house. And and then a storm happens, and yeah, I don't want to spoil much else from there, but some time travel nonsense goes on. The other one I want to recommend, the mini-series directed by Paulo, is The Last Night at Tremor Beach, which is kind of more like about the thing of a guy having visions of the future. It's this guy who's like gone through a divorce, and he goes to this secluded town near a beach, and he works as a musician, so he's trying to write music, but then sometimes when he's playing the piano, he hits a note and it sounds wrong. And then it like turns into, he has a vision of the future and he tries to stop it. But it's an interesting mystery as it goes along, because as you're watching, you don't know if the visions he's having are real or if he just has a mental problem and he's kind of crazy, because he'll run to other people like, don't do this. You know, I saw this bad thing's going to happen. And other people think that he's crazy, and as the viewer watching it, it kind of keeps you on the fence the whole time of like, maybe he's just having a mental break, but then sometimes it turns out to be kind of true, so you're like, is he having time travel visions? So I don't know, I recommend both of those for more time is a flat circle fun.
Cool. Yeah, that's a cool full circle
yeah
between your stuff.
And that brings us to listening, what we've been listening to lately, and we both have a similar story to tell.
We do. I think before we get into that big thing, I had another listening thing that I wanted to talk about. At the time of this recording, Taylor Swift's newest album just came out. It came out the day before our wedding was. And so I have listened to that because I have listened to all of the Taylor Swift albums at the recommendation of my wife, who became a later Swiftie in the realm of Taylor Swift. During her Eras tour, she went to one concert with a couple of her friends and really fell in love with it and was like all about Taylor Swift. So during that time, I listened to everything to have my ranking of albums. So I just thought with the new one coming out, I'd give where that kind of falls on my ranking and then like my top 5. So as far as this new one, The Life of a Showgirl, that's the new album. It doesn't really stand out to me. Not a big surprise to me, because I haven't really been the biggest fan of most of her albums or any of her albums after 1989. Okay. Not the year, the album, which was 2016 or something, you know, so it's been 10 years since an album that I would say that I liked. But as far as the ranking, it ends up as like number 7. So she has 12 albums, and it's like right in the middle at number 7, right behind the previous album, The Tortured Poets Department. Is where I put it. And then just to quickly run down my top 5, like I said, I'm an early Taylor Swift fan, earlier albums. So my album ranking, from 1 to 5, top to is Red, Fearless, Speak Now, her debut self-titled album, and then 1989. Which, I mean, I know in 1989, I think that was like her like big hit album when a lot more people came to know Taylor Swift as a pop artist more so, because that's what no one has Shake It Off on it, and that kind of thing. And that might seem kind of low. I mean, Blank Space is one of my favorite songs, but like most of the songs don't kind of hit, and it's like that shift into more of a pop sound is what kind of lost me so much. It's like the earlier ones are definitely more in the country, and then Red is my favorite, and that's the most rock, like almost like a pop rock, you know, kind of album. But then it kind of went a little too pop, you know. It was always pop in a way, you know, pop country, pop rock, whatever, but it modern pop sound, and basically it just kind of doesn't do it for me, you know. It just doesn't seem as dynamic in a lot of ways. So a lot of the instrumentation becomes more electronic, and in that way it kind of melds together instead of different instruments standing out. You know, I don't know. It just it doesn't do it as much for me. But anyway, that's where I was. I don't know that I think we've talked. You haven't really done much Taylor Swift listening other than probably the hits. Yeah,
actually, now that you mention it, I don't think that I have sat down to listen to a full album front to back. I just kind of like, she's always around. And you talking about how many albums she has, it does remind me how long she's been around. I mean, I was still in high school when her first albums were coming out, and
early 2000s, I want to say. I mean, because she's like 1 year older than me. That's what the premise of 1989. She was born 1 year before me, almost exactly. I think she was like also
a Scorpio.
I don't remember. October or November, I think, is her birthday, something like that. Yeah, could be completely off. Swifties, jump in the comments. Give us some engagement. Tell me where I'm wrong. You know, tell me where I'm wrong with all these album takes too. My album rankings. We'll take it.
The Swifties will have their opinions. I don't know. I feel like I should go listen because, you know, I've enjoyed some of the songs that I've heard. I remember liking right off the bat when she was starting to become early popular, just with you know, Love Story and You Belong With Me, those type of early hits. I liked those enough just as like popular radio songs from when I was, you know, in high school or whenever that was. But no, I haven't checked out the new album yet. So I don't know. Maybe I'll start there and work backwards or something.
Yeah.
But to do a transition, Weird Al does a parody of You Belong With Me, I think it is. That's TMZ. That's
I don't remember that one. That was probably on... Was that on? I feel like Straight Out of Linwood was probably the last Weird Al album that I really listened to more than one time. You know?
I think that's on the next one, Alpocalypse or whatever.
Okay.
And so the reason we're going to talk about this is we just recently went and saw Weird Al Yankovic live on the Bigger and Weirder tour.
Yep.
And it was awesome, I would say.
Oh yeah, I agree. It was great, and like it was weird to me how I kind of like felt like it afterward. Is like I felt like I was very subdued and absorbed in it like at the time, but it was like it felt like a fever dream to me in a way that I was even there, because I just couldn't kind of believe it, you know, because we listened to so much Weird Al growing up that it was unreal to get to see him live. It's not something that I ever thought that I would do, because whenever I would think about going to a concert, I kind of think what you would call the regular musical artists, not comedy or parodies. So I don't think I ever thought about it, about like, oh, we should go see Weird Al at any point in time. It never happened. But I saw these tickets and we had the opportunity, so I was like, yeah, let's go do that. That'll be fun. But it was like super great,
Yeah.
out of nowhere. It's kind of like, what the heck?
Yeah, I have to agree with that because, we both listened to Weird Al a bunch growing up, and then
mostly in like high school age or middle school for you, a little bit more so.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I still kind of in my head think of, like you said, what's it? Straight Outta Linwood was like the one I remember listening to as his new album, where like I was a fan, and then it came out and I listened to it.
And that's like 2006 or 7 or something like that?
Probably 20 years ago. And then I didn't pay much attention to his albums after that because, I don't know, I think I was listening to other, like you said, regular music because, not because I didn't like Weird Al anymore, but just as a kid, I went through the big phase of, it was also like, I think of it as like a survey course of music history. Because I was going back to before we were even alive and like discovering the songs he was parodying.
Yeah, Weird Al was such a springboard for you. Yeah. That was a really cool thing that you did by like taking almost, did you go through in order or anything when you did it? Like you went through Weird Al songs and you would buy an album with the original song on it, didn't you?
Yeah.
Or did you just get this one song? I think you bought an album. Because that was back in the time when we'd go buy CDs.
Yeah, I do recall finding CDs of the songs that he parodied because I just listened to a lot of his music and I didn't know the originals. And I recall kind of making mixed CDs as one does. So I'd have to get the Weird Al CD, get the original artist CD, but for multiple artists. Put them together, burn it onto a disc where like it'd be the original and then his, and then an original and then his.
Right, that's right. Yeah, because that's how we would do that back in the this was back in the day where around the same time I had Napster. This was after Napster had its whole problem of like music piracy or whatever, where you would still be buying the songs from Napster in this way. It was just a place like iTunes where you could buy the songs when I had it. And so I found a lot of new music that way. But it was still something that relied on the internet, and our internet wasn't always super fast. So like the more common way to do that was what you did. You go to Best Buy and you buy CDs for like one or two songs that you wanted. And then you'd have to rip them onto your computer and then you make all these mixed CDs. Which it's funny to think of that is like completely gone, but like that was what life was like, and it was,
it just was normal. Now it seems like a lot of work when like now the norm is like you find a Weird Al song on your phone.
You don't even own the song. You just find it and play
Google it. Yeah. And you find the original and you play it on the internet, and the whole time you're just sitting on the couch looking at a screen.
Yeah. There was so much more work involved than like, oh, let me listen to that regular song or the original song, and you just pull it up and like, oh, that was fun. And that's it. You went to the store and you bought an album, you ripped it on there, put it on a CD,
But it didn't seem like work at the time because that was all we knew.
It's all there was. You didn't have the other option, really.
I do remember my mind being blown when like streaming services started to become a thing, and I was like, I can just log in and all the music is here. I can look up any artist. It was really
cool. The early years of like Pandora.
Yeah.
Like before, I feel like Pandora predated Spotify by a couple of years in terms of, certainly in terms of popularity. That was more popular, where they had that thing where you could create a radio station based on like an artist or something. Going back to your point about it being kind of surreal, it obviously it's making us talk nostalgically about a different time. But I also had that weird feeling where earlier this year I went and saw Shakira, another early favorite of mine, but that was one where I was like, I need to see Shakira someday. I know I'm going to do it. But exactly like you said, I didn't have it in the back of my mind where I'm like, I need to see Weird Al someday for whatever reason. So there was also something surreal about seeing him dress up and act like parodies I've seen in the video, but also for some artists who are no longer with us, like Michael Jackson, Kurt Cobain. I was like, I don't know, he's just been
in the music industry so long, doing his thing.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of the costumes, just that part, I just wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting that it would be such a
so theatrical.
Yeah, such a big thing that it would be. You know, I mean, he's no spring chicken necessarily, but it was costume change every song essentially.
Yeah,
you know, it was a lot, which was cool.
Yeah, we looked up his age. Let me double check. He's 65 years old right now. 65 years young. I mean, he's very active up there. So many costume changes, but also still doing the Michael Jackson leg kick thing, you know? Dancing around a lot.
He's doing these high kicks, and it's like, I don't think I can kick that high.
I know.
You know?
That's exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, I would pop my knee out of place if I did some of the stuff he's doing up there. I remember getting a little worried when he came out for White and Nerdy and he was riding the Segway across the stage.
Oh yeah, that seemed like a very dangerous thing. I'm like, riding a Segway through a stage, like there's all sorts of stuff on that stage. He could hit something and fall off the stage. You know?
Regardless of age, not about him being older. Just like you're riding a Segway on a stage full of musicians in front of a crowd, and you're rapping a song.
You've got like lights and stuff. Yeah.
So that was wild, but then he survived. He got off, and I feel like we also just need to mention how good of a musician he is and his band.
Yeah.
That's the thing that sets him apart as a comedy musician, is that they put in so much work to replicate the original song and just perform.
Exactly. Yeah. The song, they replicate the original song almost exactly, and that has the effect that it needs to, with the parody of lending legitimacy, as if Weird Al's song was the original song, and that's what makes it a better parody. It's like it doesn't exist by itself just as something that's funny. It's like it lends it to you imagining if this was the real song that was released. In a way, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that's what helps with that. And like to that point, they did the thing which I think a lot of artists probably do something like this at some point, or anything that's on stage or whatever, where they say they're going to take a suggestion, but they they have a canned suggestion ready, like they're not actually taking a suggestion. They did that thing where they then take the suggestion of the guitarist on stage, or he picks him to make a suggestion, and he suggested China Grove by the Doobie Brothers, and they just played China Grove.
They played the whole song.
They played the whole song just as a regular song.
Yeah, you know? I thought that was really cool. That stuck out to me, like a sincere cover too, not like
and it's cool because it to me it seemed like it's something that either the guitarist, or like maybe they wrote. It makes me wonder, do they rotate and pick different songs that different band members would like to play, and it just seems like they're just having fun, you know. And so that was cool.
Yeah, that was awesome. Another point that stood out to me was during the encore. After he left, he came back and did their two Star Wars themed songs. So a lot of costumes, stormtroopers and everything, to do the Don McLean one, the Saga Begins. And
they did Yoda first, right?
Oh, and Yoda,
and
that's the other
one.
Yeah, so those two. But then, do you remember he stopped? They all stopped and they did like this a cappella performance. Of like,
they did.
I don't know what it was. It was some like classical song, but like chanting, and I don't know how to describe it.
I don't know. I don't know how to describe it either. They were doing all sorts of.
It was
bling,
like
bing, bang, bung, 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 like stuff, but all in sync.
Yeah,
like,
that was
all
the
of them were in
thing.
sync with all this stuff, and it was long.
Yeah, that was so impressive because it was like, on one hand, it seemed like a nonsensical rhythmic chanting, but it was so long, and they all were doing the same random noises at the same time, where I was like, only like genius musicians could pull off something like this, basically. So it was impressive all around. And what else did I want to mention? There's too much to say about Weird Al that I feel like we could talk all day about it.
Oh, I mean, I had something to go off of your thing with Weird Al back in the day of finding the original songs and that kind of thing. Like through your endeavor of doing that, you ended up finding for me two of my artists that are now my favorite artists. That's how we found out about REM and Soul Asylum.
Yeah, that is. I did want to bring that up, that I'm a little bit jealous that he's parodied some of your now favorite artists with Spam as a parody of Stand, right?
Yeah.
And then Syndicated, Incorporated.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about like that being the place where we discovered them in the first place, but that's true, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. And of course they've covered other bands that are good, but it's like those are the examples of like we were not aware of those bands really, you know. I'm sure we heard, you know, at least REM songs, because REM was huge. Like you knew like
maybe Shiny
The One
Happy
I Love
People.
or something.
Yeah.
You know,
Some
The
of the
One I Love
radio
is a
ones.
really big one. Yeah, Losing My Religion. You know, those kinds of ones you hear, but then like you don't know who did it, you know, and necessarily until you know about an artist when you get older. Especially we were younger, right?
That reminds me of
so that was cool.
one that I really like, since, you know, I hadn't listened to Weird Al in a long time till we were getting ready for the concert. And so it was a lot of fun going back and like remembering songs I forgot about and maybe discovering some of his newer ones. One that stood out to me is King of Suede, which is a parody of King of Pain by the Police.
Yeah.
In retrospect now, it seems like the Police is a big band that has a lot of big hits, and like that seems like an interesting choice.
Yeah, why was that the choice?
Yeah, because I don't think of King of Pain as one of their hits. But then, and that's such a like, I don't know, downplayed parody too, where he's just talking about his store. Don't miss out on a giant liquidation sale. Just stuff like that.
I like those ones. Like he does a really good job of telling a story through these songs too. It's not just like, oh, King of Suede sounds like King of Pain, and so now let me talk about Suede a bunch. It's like he really puts in the work that all the lyrics are great, you know, like whatever he's doing. And that makes me think of he does the Raya or the Kaiser, the theme from Rocky 13 or whatever he calls it. That's another one that I like for that reason, is that it tells the whole story about he owns this deli or whatever. Like he hangs up his gloves and starts a deli or whatever. Yeah. You know,
that's a good example of he'll take like what seems like a very simple idea, but turning it into a story. Yeah. Because a newer one that I don't know if I knew before is he did a parody of Royals by Lorde, and it's just called Foil, and it's all about aluminum foil. Instead of like we'll never be royals, it's aluminum foil. And I was like, okay, that's really simple, but I really like what he does with it, where the first verse is all about going out to eat, ordering too much, you have leftovers, and the best type of way to preserve food is aluminum foil compared to like Tupperware and things. But then the whole second verse he switches into like he's getting into conspiracy theories. And I'm like, what is happening? Is this a different story? But then it comes back around to making a hat out of aluminum foil. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool. He took like one thing that sounds like the lyrics that could be in that place, and then totally different perspectives into a story. So, yeah, I wouldn't throw around musical genius too lightly, but I think Weird Al has earned it.
I think so too. Yeah.
So I think we're pretty
far into this thing. So yeah, we had a different main event prepared, but we're gonna have to push that to the next episode. I think we came prepared for that because we knew we would talk for a long time about everything else we had to talk about here. So yeah, we'll go on to our recast for the episode. And in honor of Weird Al, we decided to recast Weird Al in a movie. You know, I think I thought of this not necessarily as recasting Weird, the Al Yankovic story, but instead just if Weird Al got a different movie or whatever, who might you have to play him instead of Daniel Radcliffe, who did it in that movie. So what do you think?
Yeah, well, speaking of, like you mentioned earlier, having someone shorter play someone tall,
Okay.
The Daniel
Yeah.
Radcliffe one.
That's one, yeah.
Yeah, which of course is played for the humor. The Al Yankovic story, that was a very funny movie, but
Yeah.
that was like his younger life, his younger career.
Mm-hmm.
So what I was thinking for my recast, a different concept of a movie would be Weird Al today. You know, current day, 65-year-old Weird Al. I found a Canadian actor who happens to be 63 years old, and that is Jim Carrey.
Oh, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once I thought of it, I tried to think of someone young, and I couldn't think of anyone. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, Jim Carrey. Who else could be weird enough to play Weird Al in like a
Yeah.
more sincere way? I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's really good. I can't, mine doesn't follow that very well. Like you, I think you hit it out of the park with that one. This one was really hard for me because I really liked Weird, the Al Yankovic story. I think Daniel Radcliffe did a really good job.
Definitely.
What it is as like a parody
Of
biopic,
biopics, yeah.
like it was great, and it's exactly what it needed to be. And so I didn't want to pick somebody too close, but I really had a hard time deciding on someone that could match like Weird Al's quirky energy that he brings to stuff. And I think that's why you nailed it with Jim Carrey. He's somebody who could do that. I just ultimately had to pick somebody that could maybe bring some weird energy, and I picked Charlie Day.
Oh, interesting.
As another like shorter person,
Yeah.
But I was kind of just thinking of somebody that might be funny in like during the Weird Al concert. He in between songs would play clips of older clips of Weird Al of himself, doing those like parody interview things and stuff. And I just imagined Charlie Day in that place, and I thought that would be kind of funny. But yeah, Jim Carrey is a great pick, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I like yours too. I'm a big fan of Charlie Day, and like, yeah, in a different way, it would be funny. And I don't know, he could do the funny voice and everything. Like a similar speaking style as Weird Al.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would watch either of those movies. And yeah, I'd watch another Weird Al movie any day. Okay, so that was our episode for today. Thank you so much for listening to episode 6 of the Some Brothers podcast. Usually I shout out our latest episodes of Adaptation Station. We're still in between seasons right now, but stick around because we might have a bonus episode coming out soon. It's almost Christmas, and then at the new year we do our usual top 5s, and stick around for more of our podcast. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye.